Now, emergency managers are in a race against time to get millions of Americans hurricane ready.
This week, FEMA is backing dozens of drills to keep first responders sharp. And here's the reason why. We are just 25 days away from the start of the 2018 Atlantic hurricane season. Today, a full-scale exercise put local, state, and federal agencies to the test.
Their mission to evacuate victims of a retirement community struck by a simulated Cat 4. 13 News Now military reporter Mike Gooding was there.
Disaster has struck, in this case a Category 4 hurricane. People need to be evacuated, but how do you know how to do that if you've never practiced it? That's what this exercise is all about. Under the fictitious scenario of Vigilant Guard, as this drill is being called, Hurricane Cora has devastated the area. Buildings are destroyed, airports flooded, and roads blocked. With patients in wheelchairs and on backboards awaiting an emergency helicopter airlift. An Army Reserve CH-47 Chinook out of Fort Eustis swooped into the Atlantic Shores retirement community in Virginia Beach to perform the emergency rescue.
In almost every exercise, the number one problem is communication, so we want to identify that we have made great communication or that we've had good communications with one another, both locally and regionally and at the state level, and also to validate that their emergency plan works. They developed plans, said this is what we'll do. We're just making sure that it will do what it's supposed to.
It'll absolutely pay dividends because we'll know how the communication works and what areas need to be focused on and improved upon.
It could be devastating.
Atlantic Shores resident Annie Alberry remembers the 1962 Ash Wednesday storm well. She got to play one of the victims today.
I think it's exciting because we're learning something to do that could save lives.
Preparedness events like this one will continue throughout the Mid-Atlantic through May 11th. Mike Gooding, 13 News Now.